Hey everybody, I'm Jesse. Let me see here. Got something. Hey everybody. I'm getting some weird feedback in my microphone here, my headphones. I don't know what it's about. How's it sound to y'all? Let me know if it's sounding okay. I'll just live with it if y'all can't hear it. But anyway, welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And the hassles of doing this on your own by yourself. All this stuff that's going on in the news and everything, right, with the Trump administration and us here, our community here at Gen X Thinks, and I've been saying it this whole time, they're not going to show us shit, right, with the JFK files and the whatever else files. That they're not going to show us shit. And and recently with that latest thing, Trump's going to have them declassify or whatever, or unseal the documents from the grand jury thing, and then they just said no, we're not going to do that. So it just goes to show that they're never going to show us anything. Even if they did show us something, I mean, it would be nothing, you know. It's not going to be the truth. It's not going to lead to any consequences. And we got here JP, Lake, Jeff 7. What's up? Yeah, like we can't handle the truth. Yeah, more like they can't handle us knowing the truth, because they know that their whole little charade would come crumbling down, right? And that's the main point, is that we have the power, okay? The population of any country, any given country or any given civilization has the actual power, and that's the only thing that the elite or the government or whatever, that's the only thing they have to do, is to trick that population into thinking that the government, the officials, the elite have the power. If they can do that, then it's done. Power over a population is only as far as the population will allow it to be. That's it. You know, I mean, if everybody bucked, if everybody says we didn't want speeding laws anymore, right? We just wanted to drive as fast as we wanted. Every single person in the United States said we're just going to drive as fast as we want, and that's it. There's nothing they could do about it. If we all just drove as fast as we wanted, they couldn't hand out that many tickets, and then if we all just refused to pay them, there's nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. They couldn't fill the jails up or any, you know. And that is the truth, and that's with everything. What if they tried to start a war and all of us said no? We're not going to control your drones. We're not going to go over there and shoot anybody. We're just not doing it. They couldn't have their war, period. And that's just that's the gist of it. That they have us tricked into thinking that they have the power, when in reality they have nothing but propaganda and manipulation, and they manipulate us into thinking that, into believing that bullshit, that they have power. They don't have any power. All they have is a little bit of trickery into fooling us into thinking they have power. You know what I mean? So when you realize that and you open your eyes to that, and it's kind of disheartening and aggravating to watch a population behave the way populations do, right? Like these governments have power. They're afraid of the government, and they'll go along with whatever they say and do what they're told to do. And in reality, the government is completely powerless. They can't tax us if we don't want them to tax us. We're taxed because we allow it. That's the only reason. We're fined, we're imprisoned, we're sent to war, all these things are done to us because we allow it. We are locked in our homes and given shots because we allow it. All of this stuff is allowed because they manipulate us into giving consent. Or they do like the tech people do, and just hide consent way down in the bullshit while they do stuff behind the scenes. That's a lot of what happens too. And it's just maddening. Yeah, the power of being lazy, Laic. Yeah, exactly. We just sit on the damn couch. So, and that's just something I think about a lot, because power is an illusion. It's a shadow on the wall, It's like the value of currency. It's not real. It's not. It's just in our heads. The power of the government is in our heads. It's all that kind of stuff is just because of our consent and our belief systems and stuff. We manifest these things out of the void. We manifest them out of nothing. The value of currency. Who gave that currency value? All right. Now, I could right now just ignore the value of all currency. I could say, nope, I'm going to go live in the woods or whatever, and currency has no value to me anymore. I could do that because it has no value. The only value is in my head. If it had real concrete value, I would not be able to do that. Just because everyone agrees on something does not mean that something is real. That just means that everyone is in agreement. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. Stephanie, hey, Tripwire, what's going on? Yeah, so they manufacture all this stuff. The value of currency, power of institutions and governments, all this stuff is manufactured. And we play this game in our heads where we create this stuff in our heads, and because we're told to obey, we're told to do what they say. And I saw this I was watching this video where they talked about the lives of medieval peasants, and medieval peasants actually had it a lot better than we do today. They only worked like 10 or 12 hours a week, you know what I'm saying? Maybe during harvest season they worked more. They probably worked, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Maybe they worked a lot during harvest season, of course, because they had to get the harvest in. But they had a lot of leisure time. They had all kinds of holidays and breaks, and they'd take naps and all kinds of stuff. It was just really relaxed, stress-free way of life in medieval times. And they were peasants, basically serfs, slaves, but they lived decent lives. Compare that to ours now, where every minute is tracked and we gotta stress and get to the job, and it's just crazy when you think about it. That kind of peasant medieval life would be like our retirement. We're trying to get to that point where we could relax a little bit and and not worry about shit. And they were doing that stuff 1,500 years ago. So we're tricked into jumping on this hamster wheel, and while someone else turns the crank, and believing that someone else turning the crank, that person turning the crank has the power, has control, has has control of the value of our currency, has control of all this shit. And all we have to do is jump off the hamster wheel. And you'd see the truth. Yeah. Yeah, obey. That's just like that movie, They Live, AF. Yeah. The obey and I forget what, that's just the one that sticks in my head when he put those glasses on and he'd see the sign obey. Yeah, we're still peasants. Like, we're just, not only are we treated like peasants, we're basically debt slaves. I mean, that sounds kind of weird and conspiracy theorist, but that's basically what it is. We're tricked into buying all this stuff beforehand, before we even have the money for it, and then we pay somebody money for lending us the money, and the money that they lent us wasn't even theirs. They haven't done anything, to earn the interest. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it and you go into it, because I don't know how many people know this, but if I put $100 into the bank, right? Let's say Tripwire starts his own bank, Trip Banking. If I put $100 into Trip Banking is legally allowed to lend out 1,000, 10 times what I put into it. So whatever they have, as real assets in their real money, they can lend out 10 times that. So not only is Trip not doing anything, he's not doing anything with nothing, right? There is no, that $1,000 doesn't exist until he lends it out. It's insane. And we put value on this non-existent currency that Trip lends out from his financial institution, but I've got to pay him back interest on that nothing that he lent me. It's just a big magic show. This shit is manifested from nothing with no concrete value behind it at all. The only value that it has is in our imaginations, what we give it. And what we give it is what we're told. Inflation goes up, inflation goes down, interest rates go up, interest rates go down. We don't have any control over any of that, right? Well, we do, but we don't think we do. We could put the interest rates down to zero in just a few days. Every single person in the United States just refused to do anything. Get online or anything, and we'd check, once a week until the interest rate was zero. It'd be zero. Yeah. April, good morning. Yeah. Yeah, obey. Yeah, that's one thing Gen X is never real good at. Yeah, JP, it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's crazy, and it all tails back to the financial institutions, to the banks, because they actually control and create the money. Nothing's really created anymore, and they used to allow it to be printed at such a rate or whatever, but now it's not even printed. It's just manifested digitally as pixels on your screen. You check your account and it says whatever's in there. And the same thing at the bank, it just manifests it on the screen, and there's literally nothing behind it. There's nothing concrete and real behind it. It's just this digital online nothingness. It's insane when you go down that rabbit hole and you try to figure out what is the real value of money. What kind of concrete value does it have? It's none. There isn't any. It doesn't exist. Money doesn't exist nowadays. It used to in paper currency or gold currency or whatever, physical currency, but nowadays it doesn't. It's not even that. Yeah, no tax, no money, Lake. Yeah, we don't conform, LJ. You got that right. What's going on, LJ? Kathy, good to see you here. Glad you could make it. Yeah, yeah, we're being treated as less than children, being told what is real, what is the truth, even though we know better and we allow it. And a few of us have our minds are open to this, right? A few of us, everyone on watching this right now, and myself, I mean, but we're such a small part of the population. It's like, an ant floating down a river. Yeah, he can realize that he's floating down a river, but hell, the river's just taking him so fast that there's nothing that he can really do to change the course of the river or get over to the land. He's just swept along. And that's kind of how the really small portion of people who are willing to open their eyes and ask questions, that's how kind of what proportion we are to the rest of the population. Because I've seen a lot of stuff, online, and y'all probably watch the stuff too. You watch, people that are awake and they're calling everybody else sheep and all this stuff, but they're just locked in on one thing, no matter what it is. They won't question that thing. If it's flat Earth, I don't question flat Earth. The Earth is flat. That's it. If the Earth is a globe, that's it. I'm a globe earther or whatever. So, and that's it. I don't question it. I just, go along with that. I'm a Trumper. That's it. I'm a Democrat. That's it. And we get locked into these channels of belief, and we won't question anything. No questions. This is my belief. This is my channel. I'm in my track. I'm running my race, and to hell with everybody else. And to take the blinders off and look around and say, well, we're all running the same race. He's just the color of his track is different or whatever, and or the color of her, vehicle is different or whatever. So barely anybody will take those blinders off, and they're all calling each other sheep and shit. All the Republicans want to call the Democrats sheep, and all the Democrats want to call the Republicans Nazis, and it's all scripted. It's all manipulation. It's all propaganda. Because you keep them hating each other, keep the people who are awake hating the sheep, and keep the sheep hating the conspiracy theorists. That's division. And that's right down the elite alley, That's exactly what they want. Anything that instills division is they either came up with it, or they will adopt it quick and promote it. You know what I mean? Yeah, AF. Open your eyes and navigate on your own compass. We all know deep the difference between right and wrong. We can do wrong and justify it and fight for it, and this is for whatever great cause, but it's wrong, and everybody knows it. You know it even when you're doing it. So yeah, that's not saying we all do wrong. We're all flawed. I'm not saying everybody needs to do right or be moral perfectionists or whatever, but just at least open your eyes and look around. And ask questions. Yeah, Trip, ATM humanity. Yeah, everybody, and it's easier to follow, and that's part of the thing with the convenience, the convenience of everything. Everybody wants convenience, and they don't. It's hard. It's difficult to forge your own path. If it was easy, then everybody would do it. Everybody would question everything. That would be a stupid thing to say, question everything, because everybody would already be questioning everything, and that would be the norm. But it's just easier to just follow, right? To believe everything. Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to go back to my video game or my whatever, my Twitch stream or my you know Tinder profile or whatever it is people do. I don't know. But it's just easier. It's more difficult. Robbie Rees, what's up from the UK? Glad to see you here, man. Yeah, I see a lot of posts coming from the UK. People are starting to push back against all that weird shit going on over there. I'm glad to see it, man. But yeah, it is just easier. It's easier to follow. It's easier to be a follower. You know, to push it off on somebody else and say, let them make the decision. I'll just do whatever they say. To kick responsibility down the road. But it's not anywhere near, fulfilling. I want to know the truth. Whatever it is, good, bad, painful, I don't care. I want to know the truth. AF Nin is one of my faves. How do you feel about new female lead? Oh, okay. You're talking to somebody else, April. Okay, I was trying to figure out. I don't know about female leads. Oh, 9 Inch Nails. Okay, rock. I got it now. After Tripwires. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I like 9 Inch Nails too. Oh yeah, Stephanie. That's yeah. The pandemic, that thing, it accomplished many goals. Okay, I think it was a test, or could have been a test at least, to see just how far we would go, how far they could push us, and what we would do. We would do. We'll have them not wear masks. Then we'll have them wear masks. See if they'll wear them. See if they'll wear two or three of them. See if they'll just stay home. We'll just tell them not to go to work. We'll tell them to, and then the conformity will get a whole generation. Though the kids want to stay home from school, so we'll just get them online, and get them addicted even more online, and get them we'll start pushing these messages even harder wherever they go. Let's see where they land. It's going to be TikTok. Okay, we'll start promoting hard on TikTok and start pushing these ideas real hard on TikTok. When you have an endless supply of money, literally endless, like I said, they just manifest it out of the ether of the internet, so they can throw it wherever they want. And part of the way they do that is by lending it to the governments and then telling them where to disperse it, right? They don't just give it, the central bank just doesn't give money directly to TikTok or whatever, to TikTok influencers. They give it to the government, and then the government gives it to whoever, and then they disperse it on down. Mike Fleisner, what's up, dude? Glad you can make it, man. But that's a real point that sticks in my mind a lot, and I do quite a bit of thinking about it. How we're all just controlled, through various means. And I would absolutely love to just be able to walk away from all this and say, you can't control me and all, But at the same time, I like doing YouTube videos. I like the creature comforts. I like air conditioning. I like stuff. So it's hard to walk away from it. And I love my wife, and I'm not going to walk away from her, of course. But there's still a what is it? An attraction to that, to just turning your back on that hamster wheel, to jumping off the hamster wheel. Just get off of the son of a bitch, and just teach them. Part of me just wants to give the institutions and the people in control, give them the big middle finger and say, not me. I'm not doing this anymore. But that wouldn't cure the problem. It would have to be all of us. We will all have to do it at the same time. As you can see, when they boycott, when there are large boycotts on brands, those companies straighten up and they fly right for a little while, right? Oh, we're sorry. We're so sorry. we won't do it again. Just please come back, right? And we've done it. We saw it with Bud Light, and that is the most famous recent example, but it's been done many times through the past. And it's the exact same thing. You just boycott the government and their control. Boycott the central bank and their control. Boycott the media and their manipulation and their propaganda. Boycott it all. And it wouldn't take long. Oh yeah, I guess we should say something. I know about the recent deaths. Ozzy Osbourne, I'm getting a brain cramp now. Jamal Joaquin or whatever, the guy from Different Strokes. Wasn't it Different Strokes? And anyway, and then Ozzy Osbourne. Or did I already say Ozzy? Hulk Hogan. I'm not a real just sentimental guy for that kind of stuff. I get it that, Ozzy was a rock and roll hero or whatever and a star, but I just never have been that sentimental towards those kind of people when they pass. They were icons and I've seen them on TV and stuff, but maybe something should be said, but prime example is the Jamal guy. No, I hadn't seen his face on the internet forever, and then he dies and he's all over the place. Nobody gives a shit about him until he's dead, right? Now Ozzy and Hulk were a little bit different because they're a little bit bigger stars, but still I haven't heard shit from Ozzy for a few years until recently, and now he's all over the place. I don't know what it is about when someone dies. There's a big thing about them, and but I don't know. I think, when you die, you die. So, yeah, we'll miss him. I'll miss seeing Hulk Hogan and him acting like an ass, and Ozzy Osbourne and him acting like a lunatic and all that. It's all cool. But I don't know. I'm just not that sentimental for those kind of celebrities. I never have been. Just I don't know. Maybe it's just a glitch in my personality. Maybe it's a shortcoming. Yeah, star worship, Brad. Exactly. I'm not claiming anybody that says rest in peace Ozzy is a star worshiper. I'm not claiming that, but I see a lot of people, I'll give you an example. What was his name? Magic Johnson. In 92, I was in the Army in Korea, and Magic Johnson, that's when it came out that Magic Johnson had AIDS, and I came back to my room, and one of my roommates was in tears, literally had tears running down his face. And I was like, what's up, dude? I thought his mom died or something, you know what I mean? I felt bad for did you hear Magic Johnson has AIDS? And I was like, huh? Are you talking about the basketball player? Oh, yeah, he's got AIDS, dude. He's, and that stuck in my head for the rest of my life. That dude, and Magic Johnson's still alive today. But it just ripped his heart out, dude, that some guy he had never met before in his life caught a disease, and I'll never understand that. Did I miss something here? Robbie's thinking. What's going on, Robbie? Did I miss something? I can't find it. Whatever. Sorry about that, Robbie. I was running my mouth. I didn't see everyone's saying condolences or something to you. I can't find it now. But I just want to acknowledge whatever you're thanking everybody else for. Oh, condolences. All right, Trip. I don't know who you lost, Robbie, but yeah, my condolences, man. Yeah, that's when I think about that stuff. I hope, and I thought about it when I heard about Ozzy Osbourne. I hope that he got all the answers to his questions. You know what I mean? I hope Ozzy and Hulk and Jamal. I hope they have all the answers now, all the questions that they ever had. Oh, okay, Robbie. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Well, thank you for showing up, dude. And you have my condolences, bro. Oh man, that's got to be rough, dude. But as I was saying just now, I hope that she has all the answers to all the questions she's ever had. You know, she's up there uh, enjoying, and learning all the stuff that we don't know right now. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, when my time comes. That's why I kind of I want to say I don't really fear it, not in the way I used to when I was young. I don't fear it anymore. Uh, yeah, Prince of Darkness. I saw a meme where Ozzy was talking to. Yeah, Robbie, that's rough, dude. I'm so sorry, man. That's the worst thing about life is it's about loss. We can't get away from it. Ah, damn. Yeah. I wonder. I don't. Damn. I hate to even talk about that. Yeah. Well, I don't think that those 3 jabs helped her. Uh, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it. But I'm sorry, Robbie. I hope that she is getting all the answers to her questions right now. Um, I hope that for everybody. Oh, speaking of death and all that, I saw this meme about Ozzy Osbourne, and it was Ozzy Osbourne talking to Saint Peter at the pearly gates, and he was trying to explain to Saint Peter that all that Satanism stuff, he was just clowning around, right? I was just joking around about that stuff, man. I wasn't serious. Yeah, yeah. Beginning, middle, and end. I've my entire life. That's if one thing uh, could be said about my life, to sum it up, it would be loss. Yeah. So, and I know there's just nothing that can fill that hole, that void from real loss. And it's just nothing anybody can say, nothing anybody can do. It's just, and time, really. Everybody wants to say that. Time. Oh, time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. No, the hell it doesn't. You just learn to live with that wound. That's it. You know, it doesn't heal. Not in my experience anyway. But you learn to live with it. And I think all of Gen X already knows that. Yeah, man, Robbie. Yeah, well, you found a good group of folks here, Robbie. Hopefully, you'll find some like-minded people to take your mind off of it here for a while. Uh, my wife asked me, what she wants me, what I want her to do with me if when my time comes, and I tell her, whatever gives you the most peace. I don't care. Put me in burn me up and put me in a folder scan and throw me in the ocean or something. If that makes you feel better, whatever, it's not going to matter to me at all. I'm not going to care. I'm not going to be here to experience it. So I really honestly don't care. I don't have a preference. Um, whatever, makes her, I guess her pain go away, or at least allows her to deal with her pain uh, in the easiest way, I guess, is what I want her to do. Other than that, I really don't have a preference. You can do a good Viking, long ship funeral, put it out in the river and set it on fire. That'd be awesome. But I'm not going to be here to see it, so I don't really care. I think the Vikings had the best ones though with those long ships. That was awesome. That's a pretty good one, Trip. Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably true for most of us, Brad. Um, I guess now that I started this, some of y'all might, uh, give a shit a little bit because there won't be any more videos. But other than that, oh, there's only a very few people in my immediate family who would even know. You know, most people on this planet would not even know that I passed. But uh, I think that Gen X is unique in that way because most of us, anyway, at least most of us who, in this group here, this Gen X Thinks group, we're not real um, socialites. You know what I mean? We keep to ourselves more because we've learned that having the more friends you have, the more bullshit you got to go through. So we've pared our group down. Not maybe not to nothing, but pared it down from hundreds of friends down to a few individuals, solid individuals in smaller groups. So yeah, that is significant. I remember the first time I bought a keg. I had just come back from basic training, and I was 19 years old, but I had my Army ID, and they sold me a keg at 19 years old. Yeah, back then people didn't check, or I don't know if the guy didn't really check and he just saw it was military, or he looked and saw I was too young and just didn't care because I was military. He's like, nah, I'm gonna let this kid have it. But he sold me a keg. Yeah, at 19, all my friends thought I was like a superhero. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right about that, Metal Gear. Have I said hi to you yet, Metal Gear? Glad you're here, man. Glad you can make it. Oh, okay, Lake. I will. Yeah, it just again, I'm working every time I think that I'm gonna get some time off work, and then stuff just happens, and I end up toward the end of the day working a longer day. I don't know what the hell, but hell, I put in 12 hours yesterday. Got home at 6 o'clock at night, fell asleep on the chair, woke up at my normal bedtime, looked around, took the dogs out, and went to sleep. Went to bed. My last waking memory, basically of any length of time was at work, and I'm about to go back again this morning. So, but it's it is what it is. The bills have to be paid until the apocalypse finally shows up. I can quit paying bills. Yeah. Oh, okay. Lasers. All right. Yeah. It was legal for you to buy beer when you were 19. April. I was 21 when I was a kid in Washington State. That's where I lived when I joined the army. 18 in UK. Is that the age now, Robbie? And you two trip in Australia, is that the age now? It was 18 up to a certain point. Then we had mothers against drunk drivers and all that stuff, and that changed a lot of stuff. And they raised the drinking age to 21. Yeah, yeah. So was I, Robbie. You're not alone there. Okay, Stephanie. Have a good one. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. The perfect dog for Generation X. I've got a little dog. I I like mean dogs, but mean dogs in a way that they're just not like physically abusive, not like draw blood. But our last dog, Lake, uh, her name was Little, and she was just the meanest little shit, and she would growl at you all the time. And now we've got another one like her. He's a Chihuahua and some kind of terrier mix or something, and he's just always angry. And it's awesome. he, he's even angry when he's happy because he that's what pisses him off the most when he doesn't have anything to be angry about. He's always growling and everything. And I love that about him. It's just comical, He's such a little guy and always angry. But little dogs, they have the longest lifespans, which I didn't know until recently. I thought pretty much all dogs live the same, but I guess little dogs live a lot longer than bigger dogs. Um, but if you get something, a small dog like a Chihuahua or something, I would get a mix. That's one thing too. Because purebred dogs, you're probably already aware of it, Lake, but purebred dogs have a lot of problems, like physical problems. Dalmatians are deaf. Those little Pomeranian dogs, they have hip problems. Purebred boxers have stomach problems. They've all like genetic problems because they're purebred, and and if you can't find somebody from a great distance away to breed your dog to, you breed your dog locally, and the two dogs are probably related. So they've come up, just kind of bred in these genetic problems in these purebred dogs. No checkmark games. What's up? Glad to see you here. Gen X rules. Yeah, Gen X kicks ass, dude. Punky Brewster mean, yeah, yeah, AF. That's how Wiley is. And our little dog, her name was Little, and she bit me on the nose twice, as I was going down to like to rub noses with her, and she just bit me, not hard, not hard enough to hurt, but it was surprising. She just nipped at me. And that shit would crack me up. She was so ornery, and if I pissed her off, she'd nip at me like that. Nowhere near to hurt me, but just to tell me, hey, leave me alone. I'm not in the mood for your shit right now. And I'd aggravate her to piss her off. I'd pick on her and shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my hobbies is psychological operations on the family dogs. I like messing with their minds. And I'm of the opinion that they don't understand what I'm saying, but my wife disagrees with me there. She thinks they understand every word I say. Yeah, too much energy. Border collies, yeah, labs. Um, there are quite a few sporting dogs like that, like they just have a lot of energy, dude. Too much. You need to get bloodhound or something that just wants to lay on the porch. Yeah, you're afraid of dogs, LJ? Oh, I love dogs. I love all animals though. I've heard that thing that what is it? The honey badger is the like the Gen X mascot, and that honey badger is so badass. If y'all want to check it out, they have documentaries on the honey badger and stuff. But those things are just insane. Yeah, they'll attack lions and all kinds of. They'll attack anything. They'll eat cobras, just attack them and kill them and eat them. Yeah, those things are just they're insane. They're not big and strong or anything, but they fear absolutely nothing and won't take shit. You don't walk into a honey badger's territory thinking you're not going to fight. I don't care who you are, if you're an elephant or a lion. Those honey badgers are bad as hell. LJ, happy 56th birthday, dude. Yeah. I hope you have a great weekend, man. You're not working today, are you, LJ? Robbie, I'm afraid of humans. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, all right. That's cool. That's cool, AF. Yeah, mixtures just have a healthier genetic code, because you're mixed in with all kinds of stuff. When you have um, too narrow of a spectrum of genetic diversity, not enough diversity in your genetics, then it brings up problems. A black cat named Bo Lemieux. Oh, okay, LJ. Well, I'm not too far behind you. Let me see what time it is. Oh yeah, yep. Gotta sign off here pretty quick myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If they are, honey badgers are just insane. So are wolverines, but honey badgers take it to the next level. Yeah, I saw this one thing where a wolverine just there were like three or four timber wolves eating a deer, and a wolverine just dove in there and started kicking ass. Yeah, timber wolves. This wolverine's like half the size of a timber wolf, and there are like three or four timber wolves, and it was on a hunting trail cam or something, and this wolverine just jumped in the middle of them, and white fur from the wolves was just flying all over the place, and the timber wolves were running off, yiping like dogs. I. So yeah, those wolverines are badass too, but honey badgers just take that shit to the next level. Cause a wolverine will jump in and fight fearlessly against anything for food, right? A honey badger will do that just to kick that ass, just to prove a point. It doesn't have to be over food. It doesn't have. honey badger see a lion walking along, it'll just go attack it. And then the lion's just trying to go get a drink of water, you know what I mean? A honey badger just don't give a shit. Yeah, those things are awesome. I learned last week. Let me see. What did I learn last week? Should I learn shit all the time? I probably learn most of my stuff from y'all on this channel. But I'm trying to think about last week. I learned a lot of stuff at work too, though. Yeah. Like, I've been doing construction my whole life, and you learn stuff, you're taught how to do stuff one way, and then you realize you're shown that a different way is better, So screw placement in a 2x4 is very important, so that down the road when the 2x4, because it's going to age and it's going to try to curl or cup like this, a 2x4 on its, will try to cup like this if you're looking at it on its edge. So you want to put your nails or your screws to prevent that. So I just learned that here last week. That was pretty cool, and it's something I'll never forget now. That Lex said he keeps forgetting what he learned. Yeah, you're definitely Gen X, Lake. Yeah, yeah, that's the honey badger AF. And I saw another thing where they're super intelligent too. They they tried to keep one in a cage in a zoo, and it kept escaping. It would figure out how to escape. It would take or an enclosure, not a cage. It would take and stack stuff up along the wall to get out, right? So then they had to put a wire roof across the top of the cage to keep it from getting out, and it was still trying to get out all the time and stuff. So they decided to put a female in with it, and then the female helped it escape. Yeah. Because and the reason it was escaping is because it wanted to fight the lion in the next enclosure. Now, it had all this food over there it wanted. It's in a zoo, but it just wanted to fight that lion. It had heard that lion over there roaring like it was king of the jungle. And the honey badger, it just felt the need to go over there and put that lion in its place. So this thing would escape for the sole purpose of fighting a lion. Yeah, those things are just awesome. Yeah, we've got to make the honey badger the Gen X mascot. Yeah, those damn things, they crack me up. But that's the kind of dogs I like too, but not so not so brutal, but that same kind of attitude. Yeah, the wood's got to be kiln dried. Yep, that's true AF. All right, well, I got to get ready for work. So, thank you for showing up, AF, Tripwire, Laic, JP. Who else we got? Brad, April, Robbie Reese, Jeff 7. No checkmark games. AF. Did I say AF already? I think so. And again, my condolences, Robbie. Nothing really to be said, but you do have my condolences, man. Well, I'm scrolling all the way up here. We got a pretty busy conversation, so we got a whole lot of people to thank, and I Can't scroll through all of them. Metal Gear Punisher. So if I did forget you, if I didn't call out your name to thank you, I thank you anyway. And also, I like to say thank you to all the people who watch this on TV who can't participate in the chat, and everybody on Rumble too. Who is it? Sigma Wolf over there on Rumble. I didn't know your name last time I mentioned you. I forgot. There's a lot of call signs to remember. But Sigma Wolf over there on Rumble. What's up, man? Thanks for watching. And thanks everybody for showing up. I like talking about honey badgers and global conspiracies. Two of my favorite subjects. All right. And I'll leave you there with that. As always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.